In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up a digital scalpel pattern to break damage lines, so you don't have to do each and every breaking line individually. So let's just go to File and open a new canvas. It doesn't have to be very large, so let's say 2-3 centimeters is fine. Resolution should be 1200 dpi and the color mode is grayscale 8-bit, just like your drawing will be. So if we hit OK, we get a nice square white canvas. Let's just see how to make this pattern. First of all, you have to pick the scalpel pattern, the scalpel line width, which would be 4 pixels, and draw a few lines. You have to be sure you're following the same direction as your scalpel direction would be on the drawing, and you also have to make sure you have different length, fairly parallel lines set up, and you don't have to make it too intense because we will be going to over and over again with the pattern to make it more intense. So this seems to be fine, and once it's done, you don't have to make you don't have to cover a large area and make a lot more than that. This is actually perfect. So let's just crop it in an area where it doesn't contain too much white around, and it has mostly covered area by these strokes. So this should be fine. Let's hit enter and make this crop. And maybe I just make another one right here and another one right here. So this is actually perfect as a pattern. I'm going to make it fit screen, made 100%. So have a look at it. This is fine. Now, so what we are going to do right now is to turn it into an actual white pattern. So to do that, we are going to invert this black brush lines to white. We go to image, go to adjustments and say invert. So as you can see now, everything becomes white because now we have white lines on a white surface. So what we have to do now is set this pattern up as a scalpel pattern. So to do that, we have to go to edit and say define pattern, and name this pattern to scalpel number 1 and hit OK. So this is now a pattern which is defined and ready to be used. I'm going to put it down and go back to my original drawing, and let's have a look at this pattern and see how it works. So I want to make sure that I'm on the damaged layer, and I also want to make sure that my damage layer transparent pixels, which means that everything what doesn't have a brush stroke, like a background, is actually locked. To do that, you just have to hit the first square among the lock options, and this is a chessboard. It's represented by a chessboard sign, and that means that all the transparent pixels are locked on this layer, so you can use whatever you do your brush over the background, only on the existing brush strokes. And now we're going to go to the pattern tool, and here on the top menu, find our scalpel pattern. It's right here. It always ends up at the very bottom. So we hit that, and now actually we are ready to use our scalpel pattern. Let's have a look and see how it works. I'm going to click on the background so it's not visible anymore, and see how it works. So it's actually pretty good. It makes a lot more wide, as you can see, just by going over and over can make it a lot more lighter. You can also make the size of your brush much bigger and see if you wanna lighten up large areas. Like here, I'm going over and over this area and make it super light just by going over and over the area that I want to lighten up. It's also very important that aligned is unchecked, which means that my pattern doesn't get repeated as the actual pattern was set up, but I can rather go over and over the same area and add more to it. So that helps to make areas more intense where I use it more intensely. So this is how you make the pattern, and it's very important that you wanna add more than one scalpel pattern, make a more intense one, make a less intense one, and figure out the exact density for your lines on the pattern, what's necessary for the best damage effect.